Waziri Miano, the Cabinet Secretary for East Africa Arid Land Development, official Vice President of the IFRC, who is the President of the Swiss Red Cross, the Governor of the... My honor to first and foremost welcome all of you to the Pan-African Red Cross Red Crescent Society. Else, I want us to join, I want you to join me in applauding the students of the Boma International Hospitality College. Your Excellency, instead of just waiting for donations from donors, we will engage ourselves in business activity, which is that at the end of the day, no suffering, and to celebrate this gathering. Having said that, I want to invite African, our business venture, to address this gathering.
The ex-official vice president of our federation, Manuel. Hiring staff for the hotel, we had a serious problem of poaching from other hotels, bringing them here to build one culture.
Pour moi, le grand qui est ici, au moment de chercher à recruter des personnes pour travailler à l'hôtel, c'était difficile de trouver la main-d'œuvre.
The need for hospitality, education of world-class standards that would take the young people not intake. So
En janvier,
3 times in a year.
et en septembre, donc 3 fois par an.
A lot of Kenyans of means, as you know, Your Excellency, used to send their...
Beaucoup de Kenyans, surtout ceux qui sont riches, envoyaient leurs enfants à étudier.
The National Ministry of Internal Security to make a few remarks. Humility has decided to sit at the back, the Vice President of IFRC. All protocol observed. I think this evening we are really honored as Kenya Red Cross to host.
Le fait que nous avons passé déjà 2 jours et nous passons 3-4 jours de discussion.
Natural disasters such as flooding and drought, inter- and intranational conflicts that led to local and international factors. The Red Cross and Red Cross, not only on the continent, but globally. The discover the unique wonders from the world's best safari.
We are the real partner of choice. First for people on the ground, the communities we have in Africa. Really enjoying the support from the government of Kenya and the people of Kenya. So I would like to thank you.
Nous avons 54 pays représentés ici, mais plus important aussi qu'il y a 53.
On behalf of President William Ruto, I join you for this dinner, which happens during the 10th Pan-African Conference of the International Federation of the Red Cross and the Red Crescent Society on renewing investment in Africa. The theme of the conference is timely. Kenya has just concluded the World for the Africa Climate Summit, which, among other issues, expressed concern that the continent is overburdened by risks related to climate change. The risks have resulted in massive humanitarian crisis with detrimental impacts on economics, health, education, peace, and security. The call for renewed investment comes against the backdrop of adoption of the African Leaders' Nairobi Declaration on Climate Change and Call to Action. Humanitarian assistance has been key to 54 African states in saving lives and livelihoods. Indeed, a few months ago, the Kenya Red Cross Society was on the front line when our country was threatened by the prolonged drought, a manifestation of climate change. Since climate change-related vagaries know no boundaries. The Red Cross Society spread its wings across the Horn of Africa. While it is the responsibility of governments to protect people from such disasters, the work of the Red Cross and the Red Crescent Society has been monumental and complementary to our efforts. Indeed, my office coordinates the work of the National Drought Steering Response Committee.
Mon bureau est chargé de la coordination de la réponse à la sécheresse.
During the recent drought, the worst in 40 years after 5 failed successive seasons, I personally worked closely with the Kenya Red Cross Society. The Red Cross team is efficient, effective, and caring. It is full of profound professionals. Indeed, I'd like to take this opportunity to pay special tribute to the immediate former Secretary General, Dr. Asha Mohammed, for her leadership, professionalism, efficiency, and being an effective team leader. They were meticulous and very inviting to work with. Thanks to such distinguished partners, we did not, and I'm proud to say, lose a single life in Kenya's worst drought history. I wish to thank partners and the Red Cross Society in particular for the measurable support accorded to our government and other states across the Horn of Africa and the African continent. As we deeply mourn with the people of Libya following the heavy rains and flash floods, which have resulted in more than 11,000 deaths and destruction of property, we thank the Red Crescent Society for being there for the vulnerable families caught up in that tragedy, which has been linked to climate change. As Kenya and the continent focus on building resilience structures alongside climate action, collaboration between state and non-state actors remains crucial in synchronizing sustainable strategic investments. High-impact investments require resources. However, in recent years, external funding has been dwindling due to, among other factors, donor fatigue. That is why Africa must match every coin of the partners and other actors to speed up development. The national, regional, and international development blueprints must make meaning if Africa Rising is about leaving no one behind in the Africa we want through transformative socio-economic advancement. In the meantime, I also encourage the Red Cross and the Red Crescent Society to increase investment in alternative revenue sources. The Boma International Hospitality College, a leading trainer in hospitality on the continent, is testimony of what investment in alternative revenue sources can do. Such projects guarantee sustained support to states and other agencies in times of crisis. There is no dignity in constantly begging for donor aid. As we celebrate over 150 years of experience of the Red Cross and the Red Crescent Society, we seek to enhance our partnership, particularly in strengthening the capacity of our agencies, like the National Disaster Management Authority and sister agencies across the continent. In our march against climate change, we cannot afford to lose lives, we cannot afford to lose livelihoods. In improved technology, we have an opportunity to work together in better early warning systems of consolidated and effective action. For instance, in our country and across Africa and the world, predictions indicate that we may experience El Nino rains between September and January 2024. We invite you to work with us as we set up and implement measures to prevent possible tragedies. In that regard, next week I'll be convening the National Emergency Response Committee that I chair with all government agencies, development partners, the Red Cross, international organizations, and all other stakeholders to discuss our preparedness for the expected El Nino rains. In the long term, we are working on public-private partnership in building water harvesting structures, including dams across the country. This will help us take advantage of such large amounts of water for food production. On this note, as I conclude, I wish to thank the Red Cross and the Red Crescent Society for the millions of lives they have touched over the years. We look forward to working closely in building sustainable societies beyond disasters. And what you do is a calling for humanity. Nobody can pay you. Nobody can compensate you in a commensurate manner. As I conclude, the Nairobi National Park is a few kilometers from the city. In fact, a few meters from here. I encourage our guests to experience the magical Kenya. I want to say I'm very honored and privileged to meet good people, because you people are good people. Many people will not do what you do. They'll ask for huge amounts of money. Yours is a great sacrifice. And I really have enjoyed working with the Red Cross. I look forward to working with you in combating the negative effects of climate change, in dealing with the possible adverse effects of El Nino. But I hope we shall not work together to deal with human man-made crisis. I pray we shall not have that opportunity. My boss, President William Ruto, is very keen on peace in southern Sudan, in Sudan, Ethiopia, DRC, across the Horn of Africa, because any insecurity, any conflict in our neighboring countries becomes a problem to our republic. That is why we have refugee camps in Dadaab, in Kakuma, everywhere. And it becomes a burden to this country in terms of resources, and even destabilizes our own security. The armed conflict in Sudan has greatly affected our exports of tea to Sudan, and affected many Kenyans who are working in Sudan who have come back home. I call upon our brothers in Sudan, the generals, to lay down arms, enter into peaceful negotiations, and find a peaceful solution to whatever problems they have in Sudan. We do the same to the Democratic Republic of Congo, where we have had to send our soldiers to try to help the people of DRC to maintain peace. We call again all the armed combatants to give peace and dialogue a chance for the sake of their citizens and for the sake of peace, not just in their country, but in the region. What you good people are doing and what I'm doing is good and is fine. Having response to deal with the natural disasters is a calling and God's work. But dealing with man-made disasters is not fair. We deal with two types of problems in this continent: natural calamities, drought, famine, floods, and all. But we also deal with man-made disasters out of armed conflict in Africa. We're asking our brothers and sisters in the African continent to spare us from having to deal with the disasters and emergencies arising out of armed conflict as they fight for leadership and scarce resources. Okay.